And welcome back to our fourth episode of Carnage Unleashed, presented by Carnage Media Pay-Per-View. I'm your host, Clayton Scalina, joined by my co-host, Wade Anthony, co-founder of Carnage Media, our producer, as always, Kev Nevick of Bite Size Sports. And today we are joined by four of our fighters from the Carnage Fight Series kickboxing card this upcoming weekend, September 30th, Angola, Indiana. Make sure to hit us up if you guys still want some tickets. But we're just going to be firing some loose questions at the guys. To all of our live viewers, feel free to make any comments. But we'll just start by going around the horn. Wade, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to talk to these fighters and get to know them a little bit and see what they're thinking for this weekend.
What about you, Kev?
I am fired up. I just spent a lot of money over on Bite Size Sports. We have our Sportsbook Junkies podcast every Monday. So I'm letting it ride on Monday night, and I'm excited to call all the action on Saturday.
Absolutely. Well, the reason we're here is to talk to the guys, so let's just jump right in. Connor, we'll start with you. You're jumping up a weight class to compete this weekend. What kinds of things have you been doing to prepare in the gym for that?
I didn't want to mix it up too much. Yeah, I'm jumping up 2 weight classes, but I'll fight. It's kind of the vibe around me. I'll fight at any weight, 25, 35, 45, it don't matter. Usually, if you'd ask me, I'd say I'm a 25er. So to move up to 45, it's a challenge, but I'll do it. It don't matter to me. And I'm just looking forward to having fun and seeing what I can do in that tournament.
Now, you fought about a month ago on Ohio's Renegade Rumble 6 over in Findlay. Does staying active help you? Is that something that you've discovered that benefits you?
Yeah, absolutely. There was a period of my the beginning of my career, beginning of this year, really, where I was kind of off for a while. And I mean, it's cool you get to learn more, I feel like, but nothing's quite like being in the ring or being in the cage and getting that cage time experience. So I love being active, man. If I could fight every weekend, I could. Every day, I could. I mean, that's what I would do if I really could. So.
Absolutely. Again, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to get your tickets to watch Connor Showtime Smith 145-pound tournament in Angola, Indiana. And Q, we're going to go ahead and jump into you. You have had a 5-0 amateur MMA career, but you haven't stepped into a kickboxing ring yet. What kinds of things have you been working on in the gym?
Stand up a lot more. Been working jiu-jitsu too, since I got a tournament 2 weeks before this, after this event. So yeah, this kickboxing thing is kind of like a side quest for me, away from the MMA stuff. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Good to hear. One of our 155-pound competitors. We have 2 tournaments this weekend, a 4-man 155 tournament and an 8-man 145 tournament. And I'm going to go ahead and jump to another one of our 155 competitors, Dale Brown. Dale, what kinds of things have you been working on? And tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
On the shelf, so I'm pretty much cardio. That's about it. Cardio and technique. So I'm just getting back in there, and that's it.
What kinds of things are you hoping to bring to the cage? Obviously, you talked about a cage ring. You talked about your gas tank. Is that something that you think will make a difference for you on Saturday?
Nah, dude ain't making it out of the first round. Either is the second opponent, but so I'm just making sure my cardio is there. I'm not going to underestimate him, but I'm just making sure the cardio is there. 10 years on the shelf, you got to make sure your cardio is there. But my punching power and my technique ain't lost it. So if you're a fighter, you ain't lost it after 10 years. So I'm coming in there to knock the dude out. So
why such a long layoff?
I'm a family man. I got 3 kids: 17-year-old daughter, a 12-year-old son, a 2-year-old son. I got a career. I wasn't trying to make a career out of it, but I like to fight. I've been fighting my whole life, so it's something that I do. It's good for mental health, and I feel pretty good, so that's why I'm back out here to smash somebody's face.
That sounds good to us. Always like to hear that.
Yeah.
So, Jason, we're going to go ahead and jump to you, one of our 145-pound competitors. What kinds of things have you been working on in the gym, and what can we expect from you on Saturday?
Basically the same thing he was saying. Conditioning is very important in something like this when you have possibly 2 fights. So, I mean, we're pushing that really hard. And this is, for me, this is a big opportunity because I've never done anything like this as far as 2 fights in one night. So I'm pretty excited, but at the same time, I'm very focused.
Is there anything that you're changing preparation-wise because of the 2 fights in one night? You don't really see that too much anymore. Like early UFC and some early kickboxing tournaments, you'd fight twice in a night, but you don't see that very much anymore. So how has this changed your approach?
I love the aspect. I think it's a very good idea. Main thing it just changes is you got to fight smart. You got to fight smart, and you got to, like you were saying, conditioning. That's the main thing. You can't gas out.
Absolutely. Q, I'm actually going to go ahead and jump back to you. We talked to you a little bit, but we did not bring up the 2 fights in one night aspect. Has that changed your approach to this weekend at all?
No. I mean, my last 2 fights were in Kentucky, and I had to get ready for 5 rounds, so my cardio is pretty good. I run a lot to get ready for Tough Mudders and all that other stuff, so I condition pretty well. 10-minute grappling matches. I do nonstop mitt work for 20 minutes. I work my cardio as best I can.
Perfect. That's what we like to hear. Connor, I'm going to go ahead and jump back to you. Your first fight of the night is against Brandon Mewhorter, and he is 10 years older than you. Both of you guys are 1-2 in the cage. How have you been preparing for that challenge?
Really just staying out there for about working on the work on. We talked about the 2 fights in one night. I really like that. Like you said, now getting old UFC. I think that's really good. I was really pushing coach to let me be on the 145. You know, I knew it was a bit bigger boys, but I don't really care. I just want to go out there and fight. That's what I love to do. So preparing, really just doing what I do all the time and going out there and having fun.
Talk about Fightopia a little bit. You got their merch on. That's where you've been training. What kinds of things and what training partners have you been working with to get ready?
We got a good schedule set out for every day works a specific thing, and that's worked very well for us. Sparring partner wise, man, I can go on a whole list, and if you don't mind, I will.
Go for it.
I've been working with obviously Chelsea, been great. I look up to Chelsea a lot. She's been a big role model for me. Jack, who's fighting on the card as well. He's young. He's reminds me a lot of myself. Coming in at 17 years old, still in high school, just wanting to get some work in, and I love that. Jake Lee, Jake the General. Everybody knows Jake. Jake kills it. I love working with Jake. Another southpaw. It's real fun to work with. Quentin. Quentin's got some big things coming up too in the future. I love working with Quentin. Shad's another big body I love to go with. It's fun to get with them bigger boys, especially for something like this. I need to do that. Seth, he's been killing it lately. He's so technical and really good to work with. I love working with him as well. Destiny, she kills it. Another, person more my size to work with, which is really good. It's good to have people of all shapes and sizes in there, and Fightopia's really got a good spread of that. And then Ethan, he kills it more on the grappling side of things. He's a really good wrestler and a good jiu-jitsu player and gives me really good techniques on the ground when it comes to that stuff. And I think that's about everybody. I'm going to feel bad if I forget, but at the top of my head, that's all I got right now.
Hey, sounds like a tough room to be in for sure.
Spurlock, he's fighting on the card. Love working with Spurlock.
Jason, I'm going to go ahead and jump back into you. You're taking on Rex Hoffel in the first round. Yep. What all have you been doing to prepare for him? Anything specific? Who have you been training with?
Well, obviously he's left-handed, so that makes some adjustments. But we got some things planned for that and everything. From what I'm seeing, he's good. He's actually a really good fighter. Seems really respectful and everything. But we just got to do what we got to do.
What do you have a prediction for how your fight's going to go down?
Right now, I'm just focused on what I need to do. We're focusing one fight at a time. I don't do too much of the shit talking or anything like that. So I just, we're just staying focused.
Hey, that's how some people like to do it. And all of you need to watch Jason do that this Saturday night over in Angola, Indiana. But Dale, we're going to go ahead and jump to you. You're taking on Peyton Spurlock. Like you said, a 10-year layoff. How have you been approaching this fight, and have you been doing anything special to prepare for Peyton? Can you hear me, Dale?
Yeah. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, am I still there?
Yep,
Yep,
you're there.
clear.
Okay. Would you ask me a question?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did. So you're
my
taking
bad.
on Peyton Spurlock. What kinds of things have you been working on in the gym, and who all have you been working with?
Okay, so that's my first opponent.
Yep.
I thought John Bales was my first opponent.
Nope.
No, I got Peyton Spurlock.
Oh, all right. Well, you told me different from the get-go, so that's okay. That switches things up a bit, like 4 days before the fight, but not too much, really. I watch his fight too. He ain't nothing I'm worried about. I was more worried about John Bales than I was him or Quentin Richards. I think that Peyton Spurlock, he's young. He's an up-and-comer. He might stay in it for a while, but he ain't fought anybody like me before.
Is film something that you usually incorporate into camp?
Nah, dude, I ain't worried about that. I mean, my little brother, he'll watch that for me, and he's who holds my mids and trains with me. Who we've competed before. We're both independent fighters, and we've had runs before. And he's who's helped me prepare for it. Dylan Brown MMA. Check it out on YouTube. He's had some badass brawls, some badass knockouts. But we've been on like I said, a 10 years layoff for a while. Yeah, Peyton, I didn't know I was fighting that kid. Okay, so him, yeah, he's going out in the first round too. Sorry, Peyton, if you're in this chat, buddy, but you ain't never been hit by anybody like me, man. I'm sorry. I thought I was going against that John Bales guy first, dude. Dang. He got off lucky. He might make it to the second round, but I'll beat his ass the second round then. Damn. Okay, that threw me off a bit. I could have swore if I go back to my chat, you told me John Bales, but yeah. So Peyton, yeah, I don't see anything that I ain't never seen before against him. I mean, I've seen way harder punches thrown by my little brother than him, and the technique he's got. He just don't have the experience, man. Nothing against him or against that Quentin kid. That Quentin kid, if he makes it to the second round, his striking isn't on my level either. I mean, the only one I was worried about was that John Bales pushing the pressure. The other two don't have nowhere near the pressure of that other guy. They're more wrestlers, but that's just my opinion, man. We'll see Saturday.
Absolutely. He mentioned the chat. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are watching this interview, please drop those questions down in the chat box for anybody. We'll make sure to get those answered. But Q, we're going to go ahead and flip to you. You're taking on John Bales in the first round. What are your thoughts heading into that match?
We've been working on, see whose cardio lasts better. I feel like mine will. Keep pressure on them. Work with pressure. I've been working with a lot of great guys at like Jiu-Jitsu and Demolition Fight Team, so we've been working hard for this. So are you ready for it? Yeah.
How do you see the fight going down?
Nice couple exchanges, some leg kicks, maybe some body shots, and then hopefully maybe third round TKO.
Sounds good. Looking like we could see a Quentin Richards versus Dale Brown final. Is that what I'm hearing?
Looks like it. It's gonna be a fun little match.
Always. We got plenty of action-packed cards. I'm actually going to defer to my co-host, Wade. Wade,
Yes.
your turn, Mr. Promoter.
Yes. For the 155er, so you guys know, we kind of got the lineup kind of set up. So you guys will be the 5th and 6th fight of the night, and then if you make it to the belt fight, so it'll be the 155 AMI belt fight at the 12th, the co-main event of the night. So you'll have a good spread about 6. Yeah, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have 5 fights in between to kind of rest up and get ready for that next that belt fight. So I'm kind of excited. yeah, like you said, Clayton, that you don't really see too many 2 fights in one nights anymore, and this just kind of came about, and it's really exciting for me, and I hope it's exciting for you guys too.
For sure, for sure. Now, Wade, where'd you guys even come up with this idea? Like you said, you never see this anymore. So, what made you guys even come up with this idea?
So we actually did 2 events before, and then we were trying to come up with something like original around this area that hasn't really been done. And we're like, what? My co-partner, co-founder, he is Zach, and we were just talking like, what if we just did a tournament? And we're like, all right. So we kind of just put together a little ad and just threw it out there to see what kind of hits would come and what kind of people would step up to the plate. Originally, we were trying to go for another 8-man tournament, but 155ers seem to be scared to get in a tournament. So I appreciate you 4 stepping up and come ready to fight.
For sure.
I was wondering, like, does it bother you guys to have 2 fights in one night, or are you just glad to have the opportunity for a belt? We start with you, Dale.
I like it a lot, actually. I'm a brawler, man. I fought a lot on the street before, so I've been in like 2 skull fight back at the bar days and stuff like that. So I like it a lot. That's good shit. That's an adrenaline rush I've never had before, so I like it.
Awesome. Q, how about you?
I'm just ready to get back in there, man. Like, well, my last fight, I had 4 people back out and everything else. But that was supposed to be for a title belt, I believe. And now I get a chance to fight twice in one night, so I think that makes up for it.
Yeah, definitely does. Awesome. For the 145ers, you guys got a little bit more of a journey to get there. So you guys know you'll fight in the first round, and then we'll have a second round, and then you guys won't fight for the belt until our following card. It's going to be a couple months later. We haven't had a for sure date yet, but how do you guys like that? How do you guys like this tournament? Give some feedback. We can start with you, Connor.
I love it. I think it's sweet. I mean, like I said, I'd fight all the time if I could. So to do it 2 times in one night that's a blessing for me. I thank you guys for that.
Awesome. How about you? Trying to think.
Jason, right?
Jason, yeah.
Oh, got a media.
Big deal, and you know, whoever wins, that's a big honor. I mean, it's really going to test you.
Yeah, it definitely. And I like how you said you just kind of facing it one fight at a time, and just taking it one step at a time. I think that's good. You don't look past anybody. Just take one fight at a time, and just make your way to the top. Is that kind of your strategy?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got different styles and everything, but yeah, I feel like if you don't win the first one, it ain't gonna matter.
That's true. That's definitely true.
Because I mean, I know some people are like they want to pace themselves or fight slow so they don't take a whole lot of damage, but that ain't my style.
Nice. So what would you say your style is?
High pace.
High pace.
Yeah, high pace. I mean, I come to fight. I mean, you know, I'm not there to just stand around.
Nice. I appreciate that. I'm sure the fans definitely appreciate a high pace fight. So I'm excited to see your first round.
Jason, we're actually going to stick with you for this next question. Talk about your background in combat sports. What kinds of things have you competed in the past, and how do you think that will help you on Saturday night?
Well, I got a little bit of experience in Taekwondo, a little bit MMA training, a little bit of wrestling. but Muay Thai kickboxing has been my passion. I love it. I mean, it's something about standing up fighting I love more than grappling or anything like that.
What kinds of tournaments have you competed in the past or anything like that?
I haven't. This is actually the first type of tournament I've ever done.
Heck yeah. No time like the present to make your debut, right?
Yeah, I mean, I love this ideal and everything, and you know, at my age, I'm not going to get a lot of opportunities like this, so I'm all about it.
Absolutely. Connor, we're going to go ahead and flip back to you. I mentioned earlier you have a couple of MMA fights. You've competed in boxing before as well. Have you competed in kickboxing before?
No, not in any form of competition, just sparring in the gym. So it's a good thing to check off the list to do for me. I'm excited to do it. I mean, it's boxing plus I get to kick you, so that's pretty fun.
How has your MMA and boxing experience kind of shaped how you approach this? Like, is there anything special you're taking away?
I feel like I said earlier, the experience in the cage and the ring is big, and I've done it. I don't even know how many times now, but I've done it a lot with boxing and MMA together, so it kind of helps with nerves and just feeling at home there in the cage, or in this case, the ring this time. So I feel like I'll feel comfortable, be relaxed, and just be ready to go on a show for everybody.
100%. Fans always love to see a good show. Make sure that you guys catch Connor, Showtime Smith, Angola, Indiana, Carnage Fight Series 3. Dale, we're going to go ahead and jump to you. What kind of experience do you bring into the ring on Saturday night?
I'm 5-2 in MMA. That had back 10 years, but a lot of them, all them wins were. I don't think I went out of the first round. Most by knockout, TKO, a couple submissions. All my losses were to some tough guys. I fought up in Jackson, Michigan, out of Angola before, Auburn, Indiana, Edmore, Michigan. Yeah, I've kind of fought all over, just amateur shows, but yeah, that's about it. Plus, about all my I've been a fighter my whole life, so I mean, like I said, the 10 years is nothing. I wouldn't be afraid to stand toe-to-toe with anybody on this card tomorrow. So that's the me. But I mean, don't get me wrong, I've been training for it.
So do you believe? Do y'all believe in ring rust?
That's it.
Dale, do you not believe in ring rust?
Man. No, and no. In them 10 years, I probably fought like 3 or 4 times on the street and smashed them dudes. So if I had ring rust, I'd probably get beat by them 300-pounders I beat up on the street. So no, I don't believe in that. I believe once you got that power, man, you don't lose it. So once I touch them on the chin, you guys will see no ring rust.
I like that. Like the confidence.
You'll see. I'm telling you. Whoever I'm 55, do not let me touch you. You better stay far away. Or you're going down in 30 seconds.
You heard it here first.
Love to see that confidence heading into the big show on Saturday night. Hugh, that leaves you. We mentioned that you're an undefeated amateur MMA fighter, and you've talked a lot about your jiu-jitsu background. How have those experiences shaped your mindset going into Saturday night?
Taking what is ever given to me. You know, you got to see what's going to be happening for fight. And then, the 5-0 MMA. My last fight was mostly stand-up. Dude hit me hard. Kicked me in the head pretty good, like a baseball bat. But no, it's all everything leads to this. You know, like I said, this is a side quest. Just my main focus is MMA, but if I can get some extra time in doing other stuff, work my stand up in the kickboxing realm. Joke a little bit. But yeah, work that. Maybe I'll take some boxing matches here soon too. But yeah, very, very happy to get the kickboxing scene.
Sounds good. Wade, I'm actually going to throw another question your way. When setting up an event like this is a Pro-Am show, remember, we will have a professional fight at the end for the 135-pound belt. What kinds of things go on behind the scenes to put on an event like this?
It's actually a lot. I definitely credit my my partner, Zach. He's done a lot of the heavy lifting and communicating with all the fighters. But yeah, it just we had to come up with unique ways to market it, and so we got on Facebook Marketplace and threw that out there and trying to get people and bring people from around this area. We even had a couple like East. At this point, we couldn't bring them in, but eventually we hope to grow big enough to be able to bring in people from all over the place and really get like a mixture of different styles and different people in. So it just takes a lot of just reaching out and advertising and getting real fighters in here that are not going to back out. I mean, you're going to deal with that with any promotion that you're trying to put on. We had a couple people that had backed out before, especially on this one. As we tried to put this together, they commit and then like I didn't commit to that, and then it's like, all right, you're not a real fighter. I don't want you on my promotion anyway. So I credit all the people that sign up and stick with it, because it does take some courage to get in the ring, and I just thank all the fighters that accept it and be able to put on a show.
Talk about the main event, you know, the background of both of the guys and how you expect that fight to go.
Yeah, so I knew Mike before Lino, because when I first started training and getting into this realm, I met him through Demolition. And then just this past like year or two, I met Lino, and dude, that kid's a fire. He's got a lot going for him. And so they're both pretty active. So I'm thinking it's going to be a very technical battle, and it's just going to be like who's going to catch somebody lacking. And I think somebody could go out. I honestly do think that. So I'm excited. I think it's going to be a great main event and a lot of hands, a lot of kicks, and some exciting moments to be watching. So better keep on the lookout for that. You can get your tickets if you go to Carnage Media pay-per-view on Facebook or Instagram. If you're going to do pay-per-views, use the QR code. Watch out for the phony links that the people be putting in the comments. And then we also have a link on our page only for tickets for the fights, or you get them through the fighters that are on the card. So just don't watch out for them phony links, because they're out there and they're going to scam and take your money.
100%. We don't want you to spend your hard-earned money on not our product, which will be the best product out there on Saturday night. So make sure to scan that QR code and buy the pay-per-view if you cannot be there. But Connor, my next question is actually for you. You have shared the cage with our main event fighter, Marcelino Real Street Jesus Rengal. Talk about that experience. That was your MMA debut, correct?
Yeah. Anything I ever did. Going into it, I didn't know much about Lino. I didn't know his background in boxing. And now what he's doing. I mean, I was they disrespect Lino, dude. It's hard. First dude ever hit me in the cage, and that's why. I mean, if you ask me who's gonna win the main event, Lino, 100%. I've been hit by that dude with MMA gloves, so I know what that feels like. So he's my pick for the main event for sure. But the moments during the cage with him in that fight, it was a good fight. It was the main event of the show. Split decision, real close, and I learned a lot. I still talk to Lino every now and then. He's a really good guy. So it was great. One of my favorite fights every day.
For sure. Love to see that after fights. You know, this is a sport. This isn't war. We don't have to be enemies at the end of the day. This is a sport. What do you have to say about that, Wade?
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, it's not war. I mean, obviously you're gonna have those disagreements with some people, but it's really wholesome when you can share a cage, leave it all out there, and then you can give each other and earn each other's respect in the ring and be able to learn from each other and grow in this sport. So I like it. I like to see that respect that people give each other.
For sure. Now, Q, this next question's for you. You've trained with Lino in the past, correct?
I don't believe so. I don't think we've actually trained together. We've been in the gym at the same time together, but I don't think we actually have trained together.
What kinds of things have you seen from him at the gym, and what is your prediction for the main event on Saturday night?
Oh, he's going to win by a TKO, like the first time. First round.
First round.
Yeah.
Love to see the confidence from Q. Dale, I'm going to go ahead and shoot back over to you. You talked about training with your brother. You guys are both independent fighters. What has that experience been like for you, sharing this journey with your brother?
It's been a blast. He got, I think, his first MMA fight. I think he was like 16 years old. I think mine was like 17 or 18. So he was still in high school. I was just out of high school, and then we continued on to that into our early 20s. It was really nice. It was cool. We were like super hard on each other, man. So like I had like the best sparring partner you could think about. For sure. He's a pusher, man. So yeah, it was really good. But the independent part of it, that was the badass part of it. We had a pretty good spree back in the day, being independent fighters, fighting a lot of good guys out of a lot of good gyms up here in Michigan, over by Detroit, Dearborn Heights, over in Detroit, up in Jackson. Beat a lot of their good guys, lost to a couple of them, had a lot of good wars with them. But being an independent fighter, that's an honor that I hold. I feel so. I take pride in that.
Awesome to hear, for sure.
I don't know if I answered your question, but there you go.
No, that was a great answer for that.
Great.
Jason, I'm going to go ahead and jump into you. Who all have you been training with, and what kinds of things have you experienced in your training?
Well, I mean, we train with our coach, Damon Bell, a lot. So he definitely is very experienced, and he's brought a lot of good things to learn. So he's helped me a long way. I think he's changed my fighting game a lot. But the gym in general, I think, has changed me for the better.
Where do you train out of?
Triumph Combat, Louisville, Kentucky.
What kinds of guys have you been training with, and what all experience do you think that'll give you on Saturday night?
Well, we have a very variety of people we spar and train with. So, there's heavier guys and everything. It seems like the majority of the people we spar with seem to be heavier guys because it's hard to find people around my weight. But we also have ones that are close to mine, so we get the good conditioning in. But we just try to push a lot of rounds, and just try to push ourselves to beyond what we can handle, basically. And I mean, I feel like that's going to help conditioning wise, but it still comes back to fighting smart and doing what you need to do.
Absolutely. Kev, I'm actually going to shoot a question your way, my fellow commentator here on Carnage Media Pay-Per-View. What are you expecting out of this show here on Saturday night?
Oh, I expect it's a big old card, right? But I actually don't expect it to last hours. I don't think it's going to be an incredibly long card. I think we got some finishes in line for the folks. I think some of these fights are going to end pretty quickly. It's going to be explosive. I know it's going to be exciting. Listen, we're having a tournament. This stuff reminds me of like UFC 1, when you had people were fighting multiple fights in the same night. So you really don't know what to expect from those second round fights, right? It's impossible to try to predict those because anything can happen in there. I know our main event is going to be incredibly exciting. If you guys didn't see it, go check out last week's interview. Those two are ready to hurt each other. It's going to be an exciting event. You know what my favorite line is, Clayton? I am just glad that no one's paying me to do any scoring here. You won't be, you know, there's been some big news about a new official judge that's been added to the MMA world. You know what? It'll never be me. I won't ever be getting paid to score these fights, but I know that I'm excited to do my best Joe Rogan impression when someone gets knocked out.
For sure. Always bringing the energy. Wade, I'm going to jump back to you. What is your favorite part about being a promoter?
Just being around the sport. I've done sports all my whole life, and especially wrestling. Wrestling was my favorite sport that I'd done, and then I came into the MMA and boxing and all that world, the combat sports world, and just instantly fell in love. So I just like training. I've done a boxing match before, so to be able to now be able to put on shows like this with my brother is awesome. So this card is going to be absolutely fire because there's a lot of people in here with a lot of confidence. It's a big card. We got 13 fights. So the first 4 fights are going to be the first round of the 145, and then the next 2 are the first round of the 155. And then we got 3 featured bouts. We got a heavyweight and some other ones in there, and then it jumps back to the 10 and 11 is the 145 second round fights. And then we go into the co-main event with the 155-pound AMI belt, and then we got Lino versus Mike for the main event. So it is just going to be, I believe what Kev says. It seems like it's going to be a long night, but I think there's a lot of people in here about to be throwing some hands and connecting some chins, and people are going to go down. So I think I'm predicting a very, very exciting, fun night. So to be around all that is amazing. You got to put the work up front to build a card like this, but at the end of the day, you get to sit there and be around it and watch all amazing, great fights. So I love it.
You heard it here first, folks, from the man himself, Wade Anthony. Make sure to check out our show, Angola, Indiana, this coming Saturday. Jason, I'm going to go ahead and jump back to you. Most people would look at combat sports in general as something that's dangerous, like I have better things to do than get punched in the face on a Saturday night. Why did you start training? What kind of propelled you to jump into fighting in general?
Well, I mean, I've always had a passion for the old school UFC days and glory kickboxing. But I think it also takes somebody that ain't always there to have this mind state that want to get punched in the face. So I love it because it keeps me in good shape. I'm always learning stuff. And I see my teammates, go up and achieve their goals and everything. And it's just a passion of mine.
Absolutely. Gotta love those old UFC days. I went back and rewatched UFC 1 about a year ago, and just seeing those guys jump in there, no gloves, no shin guards, just fighting. It wasn't really MMA at that point. It was just fighting. It's crazy to see how far that sport has come in the last 30 years.
Yeah. It's insane. There's no weight classes back then. It was just, hey, this person. Who's going to win?
We're going to find out who's going to win this Saturday night, Carnage Fight Series 3. But Connor, I'm going to go ahead and jump back to you. You're 19. You said you started training when you were still in high school. Why jump into fighting?
For combat sports. Actually, Kev, you'll love this one. I'm a big pro wrestling fan. Grew up watching pro wrestling my whole life. Still watch it, till this day. My dad, it still is the local pro wrestler around here in Ohio. So I've been around it my whole life. I loved it. And actually, Brock Lesnar was the first one to get me into MMA. I saw him doing the UFC, and then I was hooked since then. Saw him, and then ever since then, it's been my thing, and I loved watching it. And then I was like, why not just do it too? So I found, bounced around, ended up Fightopia, and rest is history from there.
Talk about your first practice. What kinds of things were going through your head? What did you learn? Anything like that?
I learned a lot my first practice. Back in the day, I say back in the day like I'm old, but back when I first started, it was in my living room. I was paying $20 to pay someone $20 to come train me in the living room of my house. But Fightopia is what I consider when my career started. And my first practice there, I fell in love with it. I learned absolutely levels to this. When you having that happen to you really makes you want to be better, so it doesn't happen again. So
for sure, that's always a good motivator, right? Dale, we're going to go ahead and jump into you. You talked about jumping into MMA at a young age too. What made you want to start training?
So that was a long time ago. So it was like 15 or 18 years ago. But I was always kind of like a stubborn kid, or didn't take no from anybody. So that kind of steered me in the right direction. So that's what started it. Yeah.
And that leaves Q, the guy, Quentin Richards. I know you started in jiu-jitsu. What made you want to start training in jiu-jitsu, and then how did you jump into MMA?
Well, let's see. When I was really younger, I watched Bully Beatdown, and then Jason Mayo Miller has been my favorite fighter ever since. And then me and my buddies would sit there, throw a futon down in my garage, be like, you and you fight. First one to give up loses. And we do like a tournament style bracket like that. And then I was like, damn, I'm getting pretty good at this shit. Like, let me go find a place to train, and then train for and I got really good with submission locks because of watching a lot of pro wrestling when I was younger. I'd be doing sharpshooters.
Let's go.
Yeah. Doing sharpshooters and Boston crabs and all my little brothers, or the crippler crossface, just stupid shit like that. And then I'm like, awesome. And then when trying to find a place, was Googling stuff, and then buddy in high school found was like, hey, there's a place in Defiance that does it, so you want to come up and try it out? I'm like, sure, why not? And then ever since the stage truck, got triangled like 3 times by Rex Hopple, threw up after that, and then walked back up the stairs and continued rolling.
So Q, it's come up twice now, and Connor, I'm going to ask you the same question here in a minute. Who is your favorite pro wrestler? There's got to be somebody, right?
Oh yeah, Sting.
Sting?
Oh yeah.
Sting, let's go.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I like that. That's on my Mount Rushmore for sure.
I'm talking about WCW Sting, like back when he first got into the whole crow phase.
Raptor Sting, Crow Sting, yeah, absolutely.
Surfer Sting was pretty cool too.
Connor, you know it's coming. Who's your favorite pro wrestler?
I'm really going to show my young age on this one because I was not alive for Sting in WCW, but I grew up. If I had to pick one, it'd probably be Randy Orton now, unless you count my dad. My dad's my favorite of all time, but big name WWE stars would be Randy Orton would probably be my favorite of all time.
Hey, I feel you there, Connor. I'm only 20. I'm only a year older than you. All these old guys talking about the WCW, I don't even know what that is. So,
dude, Clayton made fun of me. I made a Greg Maddox joke once on pay-per-view, and he embarrassed me. I'm old. That's why I always wear a hat, so you guys can't see how bald I am.
Well, awesome.
I know you're only 25, Q. I saw you saying that down there.
Alex says Road Warriors. By the way, keep the questions coming in the chat. We appreciate you. I've been collecting them like Thanos with Infinity Stones. So here, before we get to the end, we'll open it up. I'll start firing off these questions from the audience. But we appreciate all of you that have been active in the chat. It really makes this even that much more fun. So forgive my tangent there, Clayton.
Nah, you're all good. You're all good. Wade, before we dive into those questions, do we want to shout out our sponsors for Carnage Fight Series 3?
Awesome. Yeah. So HTI, Haul Trucking Express, and Towing and Trucking Trailers. Great people, great Christian company. So if you drive trucks or you need some towing done, always get a hold of them. And then we got Bite Size Sports Kev right here, the host. If you look at watch his podcast, Hot Takes, Clayton. Yep, another good podcast for combat sports. And then we got Pity X_X. He's our behind the scenes guy, and he always getting it done. If you like gaming and like to watch some Twitch, go check him out. So I thank all you guys for sponsoring us and being a part of this team, and thank all the fighters as well. So, hey, I couldn't do it without you guys. So thank you.
For sure. People don't realize that how necessary sponsors are for regional events like these. So thank you guys very much for helping us put this event on. But with that, Kev, I think it's question time. Let's start firing them off.
All right, so I'm going to pop them up here and start asking them, and then bear with me. I might not get to highlight you guys solo for the answer. Depends on how long the question is. Let me see. The first one was about weight class. We answered that one. So this first one is for Dale. It says, are you aware Peyton Spurlock beat John Bales in a boxing match? So Dale, are you aware? Does that matter to you?
I don't. Fuck no, man. I don't give a shit about that. I barely watch any of their fights. That 1-2's coming down the pucker. You better just watch out. I don't care who it is. I just thought I was fighting that John Bales. I don't give a shit who it is, dude. All three of them guys, dude, are on the same exact way.
I love the answer. I love the answer. The next one comes from Candace. Candace, this one is for you, Q. So, Q, how will this help your MMA career? Candace wants to know.
It's gonna help out just working my stand-up with not being, tempted to take anyone down. Don't mean I might not attempt it, do a little feint, but something.
I like it. I like it. This next one is well, you guys have already answered it, but just to throw it out there, Lino really wants to know who y'all have winning the main event. So we did cover that one already, but make sure you don't miss that main event. Now this one, Arctic Wolf asks, if you win the belt, are you willing to defend it? So we'll start with you on this one, Jason. The question, are you willing to defend this belt if you win it?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you win it, that's how it works. I mean, you ain't a true champion until you fight one more time.
I like it. I like that. Connor, what about you? Do you have the same sentiment? If you win a belt here, are you going to be ready to defend it? CFS 4 or 5?
I mean, absolutely. The 125er would love to defend his 145 pound title.
What about you, Q?
Yeah, I'll defend the belt. Yeah, I don't care.
Absolutely. All right, Dale, same question for you. You going to be defending this thing when you win it?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. I've already thought about that. I'll defend it once, and then if I stay in it, I'll move on and pursue my MMA career.
I like it.
So
you
you get one defense out of me, and I'm moving on, my man.
Everybody gets one. I like it. I like it. Now the next one We maybe have touched on this one, but I'll just go. We'll go around the horn again. We'll go in reverse order. So we'll start with you, Dale. 2 fights in one night. How does it affect your mindset?
I like it. It's going to get the first fight will get my nerves out of the way, and the second fight I'll be able to calm down. So that's a good thing.
That sounds fair. That makes sense to me. Q, what about you? You're up next. How does 2 fights one night? How does that affect your mindset?
Honestly, I feel like my second fight will go a lot better than my first one. After I get that first one out the way, it's just game over. Like my first round is usually like the worst round, but not worst, but it's a slow round. Until I get like, all right, we got the rhythm going, and then pick that up. I think it should be fine for the second round. You're going to see a completely different person first fight and second fight.
Okay. Sounds good. About more of the same. Seems like those guys will both be a little looser for that second fight. Connor, what about you? Are you feeling the same way? You going to be a little looser when it comes time for the second fight?
When it comes to 2 fights, I mean, every time I fight after I get done, I'm always like, man, I want to do that again. So now I get to a couple hours after. So I'm excited for that, and that's really all my take on it.
I love it. No one's backing down from it. What about you, Jason? Do you think that you're going to be a little more loose for the second fight? Is it going to have an impact on your mindset, or is this just business as usual for you?
No, I think I'll be more loose, but like I said, we're approaching this one fight at a time because, none of the other opponents or second fight even matter if you don't do what you got to do with the first one.
It's a valid point. That is a valid point. Well, I appreciate you guys for answering those, and we appreciate you out in the audience for getting those questions in. Of course, you still have some time. So if you've got some, we'll call it last call. All right. So get your questions in if you've got them. I will interrupt Clayton as I can to get them in there, but we've taken almost an hour of these fighters' time, and we appreciate you guys so much for doing this with us and letting the crowd get to know you. It's been a great show, by the way. I won't talk numbers in front of company, but you guys are putting on a show. We'll talk about it after, but it's been a great turnout. We appreciate all of you for being here. Clayton, I will hand the steering wheel back over to you, sir.
Sounds good. Thank you, Kev. So while we wait for those last-minute questions to come in, we're going to go around the horn and give you guys a chance to shout out your sponsors. But it looks like that we had a question come in right away. So
Connor, we do. Yep, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, Connor, we'll go ahead and start with you. How's preparation been for this fight?
Same as usual. I'm not trying to change my headspace. I always have a good headspace going into fights, and I didn't want to change it up too much. So just doing what I do week in, week out, going out there and fighting and having fun.
That sounds good to me. Q, what about you? How's preparation been for your first kickboxing match?
A lot more kickboxing, obviously. Like less grappling, but a lot more kickboxing. Preparation's been going well. I don't do camps pretty much. I just train my ass off as much as I can. 6-7 days a week, just nonstop.
For sure. I like it. Jason, what about you? How's preparation been down in Kentucky?
It's going good. I feel really good about this. And we're just working our ass off, but at the same time trying to enjoy it, not get so serious.
Fair. That sounds fair to me. Dale, last certainly but not least, how has preparation been for this fight for you?
It's like with the layoff, and like I really didn't stay very active as far as like being an athlete, and that's kind of sad to say. So it was rough in the beginning, but surprisingly, it calmed down, and it was really nice. It was like for me, like looking back, it was the best training camp that I've had, like the most calm that I've been. I don't know if that's with age. I don't know. So it was good, man. The preparation was really good. So like I said, I just beat myself up in the beginning, and then I'm smoothing out now. So it's been good.
Always love to hear that, especially coming after a long layoff. Dale, I'm actually going to go ahead and stick with you. Do you have any sponsors or anyone you want to shout out before we sign off?
Just my little brother Dylan Brown. Just for him helping me out, man. He took the time out of his life. He just had a baby. I mean, he's got 2 kids, so he just had one, and that's a lot, you know. I mean, I got 3 kids on, and so that was really cool for him. My motorcycle club, Dogs MC, out of Melbourne, Ohio. I paid them for allowing me to fight. That's our down day, and I don't know, but on the culture, we have a down day where we shut down for the season, and that was our date. They allowed me to fight, so that's cool. That I'm gonna go out there and thanks to that's it.
Well, speaking of Dylan, he actually has a question in here for everybody. So Clayton, I'll let you direct traffic here, but the question goes, who in combat sports, whichever style, who influenced your style the most? Maybe a fighter you mimicked early or in your training career?
I'm actually going to start with Q on this one because I think I know the answer. Q, who has influenced you?
Right now, like I said, earlier days, it was Mayhem Miller. Right now, it's been Justin Gaethje. Yeah, he's been one I've been watching a lot. And this George Hardwick. He fights in Cage Warriors over in England. Those 2 have been like the most 2 I've been watching right now. And Liam Harris for the kickboxing aspect. He's a Great Britain Muay Thai fighter.
Absolutely. Justin Gaethje is one of my personal favorites. I was gonna guess Mayhem Miller, but
I said earlier days was May. Like when I first started out, that's how I fought. Like hey, let's all sneak. Like however he fights, it's a weird style. Right. Then I started evolving, adding the other people in to morph into kind of my own style.
I remember before a show that you and I worked together, I asked you who your favorite fighter was, and you said Jason Miller, and I don't know. I'd never heard anybody say that Jason Miller was their favorite MMA fighter ever, so that was kind of a cool answer.
Yeah, I'm kind of out there.
Connor, I'm going to go ahead and shift this to you. You know, you've talked about kind of your dad's background in pro wrestling, but is there anybody in boxing, kickboxing, or MMA that inspires you?
It'd be all the people that I get to train with every single day, but style-wise, I would say it'd be the 2 that I got to train with the most when I first started, and that would be obviously Chelsea Connor, and shout out to Tim Fry. Those are where I got a lot of my, especially stand-up-wise, a lot of my striking from, so I'll keep it local for you, local fighters.
Absolutely. Chelsea was another fighter, the co-main event of Renegade Rumble 6. She walked away with the victory and fight of the night. So congratulations and shout out to Chelsea Connor of Fightopia MMA. Jason, I'm going to go ahead and jump to you. Who has inspired you in boxing, kickboxing, anything like that?
Well, I've always been a big fan of Lyoto Machida and his karate background and everything. But I also respect glory fighters a lot, not necessarily one in general, but just the impact they take. And it's a passion of mine.
For sure. For sure. Dale, who inspires you? This is your brother's question, so you got to give him a good answer.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Ooh.
No.
Yeah.
I know that. Who inspired my I don't know, man. My style is myself, really. He knows that, so he don't know what I'm talking about. But like Chuck back in his prime, man. I really like Chuck's style back in the day. I based a lot of my punching style off of Chuck's style back in the day. So it'd definitely be Chuck.
Big sprawl and
Chuck
brawl
Liddell.
type of guy. Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I actually was watching some Chuck Liddell highlights when I was on my cool down today at the gym, so I definitely know how you feel there.
Yeah,
I
like
was
his
excited.
backup style.
Alrighty. Well, Jason, we're going to jump to you. Is there anyone you want to shout out? Any sponsors, anything like that?
Yeah, one of our main sponsors is the Blackbird Foundation. I want to give a shout out to them, and I want to give a shout out to Damon Bell because he does a lot for his fighters.
For sure. Oh, like I said, these little events are definitely carried by sponsors, and little gyms are carried by sponsors. So always thank you to everyone who helps put on events like these. Hugh, we're going to jump to you. Any sponsors, anyone you want to shout out? Oh, he's got the phone out. He's ready.
No, he's muted.
Unmute myself. Yeah, I gotta remember this stuff now. It's weird having sponsors. Nails by Kenna, Fallen Oak Tattoo Studio, the Sons of American Legion, Squadron 300, and then the Scott Street Gym.
Absolutely. Thank you for all of our sponsors of Quentin Richards. Connor, that leaves you. Who all do you want to shout out? Any sponsors out there?
I know I gave that big list of everybody that I trained with earlier, and I didn't want to forget. And luckily for you, I remembered the ones that I did forget. So along with those, I would like to shout out Peyton Spurlock, Emily Atkins, Kyle Barga, and Chase Gamble as well. I train with them every day, and they're great training partners, great sparring partners as well. And, of course, shout out my coach, Johnny Connor, getting me where I am today. And, of course, to my family and my friends that support me and on this journey. And then sponsor-wise, shout out to the Redneck Party Bus and shout out to Gentleman's Chair. Best place to get your haircut around. You know where to go and you need a haircut.
Sounds good to me. Well, guys, I think that's everything that we had for you. So thank you very much for giving us some of your time. 6 days away from Carnage Fight Series 3 in Angola, Indiana. Make sure to purchase your tickets, but if you can't be there, scan the QR code and buy that pay-per-view. Thank you guys very much for jumping in. We appreciate your time.
Yes, thank you guys.
Thanks so much, guys.